Alright, our next video is about conductors and insulators, what they are and how they work. Conductors allow or permit electrons to flow. So with this, we know that electrons can flow from one object to another if there's a conductor allowed. So examples of conductors, anything that's metal, anything that we see like that. So they permit electrons to flow. Insulators impede the flow of electrons, or they don't let electrons flow. So let's take a look at how this works. So let's say we have a negative object, and we touch it to a plastic sphere, a metal sphere, with a plastic golf tube or a charged tube. The electrons will transfer from the tube into the sphere. Now, because of all these net electrons coming through, it acquires a negative charge located right here. If the metal is a conductor, which it is, the electrons then spread themselves out across the surface. If it was an insulator, these electrons would not transfer out and they would stay huddled in one spot. So there's a difference between conductors and insulators. Now, some examples. Really good conductors. You see silver, copper, aluminum, iron, mercury, all big metallic on the periodic table. Carbon, not so much. Water, a conductor because of its polarity, because it's polar. Silicon and germanium, what we call semiconductors, they will conduct usually under extreme or odd conditions. And then insulators, things that will not conduct: air, wood, glass, or rubber. Now, distribution of charge. When we look at electron movement and distribution of charge, so again, if it's a conductor, we expect the charge in our sphere from the previous example to spread out. If it is an insulator, we expect charge to not flow and to stay in that one spot that we saw on the sphere. So electrons will spread out in a conductor, but they will stay close together in an insulator, which is important because if we have an insulator in our hand and we're touching something electric, the charge will stay in one spot and won't spread out over the object and maybe fry us. While in a conductor, if we're holding it, it will spread the charge out and the charge will run through us, which is usually what we don't want to see happen. That's the difference between conductors and insulators.